Hey guys, it's Pat Gordon with Operation Feed and
Big D.
we're coming to you tonight live from the garage.
Again, it's not a Q&A, but we're going to have some fun tonight. We're going to talk about our adventures over in Germany.
Ooh, Germany.
Out in Dusseldorf, Germany this year, as this fella competed at the 2023 Invictus Games. And I was his cheerleader slash bodyguard.
Slash hype man.
Hype man.
Hype man.
The century.
Yeah. Day one in Germany was a shit show, to be quite honest with you. We, was it an 8-hour flight or a 5-hour flight?
It was an 8-hour flight.
8-hour flight.
Overnight.
And
we were packed on there.
We were high as kites too.
Yeah.
I forgot. Yeah, we took all the cannabis we could possibly take in the airport before, because it was illegal.
It's our prescription.
It's prescribed. We're both veterans with post-traumatic stress disorder, and anyway, we got bad data because Canada was told we weren't allowed to bring any of our cannabis with us. So all of the veterans that had it divvied it up, and we used it all before we got on the plane, and we were very comfortable, I would say, at least for the ride there. Unfortunately, when we got to Germany, the rest of the countries all were allowed to bring their cannabis, and we were told we couldn't. So
yeah, it was pretty stressful that day. We might have had a few THC pills before we crossed through security in Germany, which there was none. We just get off the plane, and when you just welcome to Germany, you walk right through. There was no searching your bags or nothing.
Nothing.
So the first thing it was like 30 degrees there, and they're in this heat wave. So we get off the plane, and you're feeling gross, and you're walking through this strange friggin' airport, and you're waiting for your bag, and it doesn't come. So I go over, I know my bag is lost because it got an air tag in it, and it says Toronto. As we're leaving the Toronto airport, I realize that my luggage is not on the plane. So I'm like, okay.
And it begins.
And so I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna let this ruin my journey. So I go right to the baggage claim guy. And he's like, can I help you? I'm like, yeah, my bag is not on this plane. He's like, you have to wait. I'm like, for what? He's like, until the carousel stops. I'm like, okay. So I sat there, and we held up the bus for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
Waiting for my bag that was in Toronto. I'm like, here, it's an air tag. He's like, no, it could have fell off. I said, it's in the bag. He didn't believe me. So finally, there was another guy who turned around, and his name was John Sebastian Bergeron. Guy kind of looks exactly like me, but the French version, got a big old beard. And turned around, we made friends right away, and we were staying at the same hotel and stuff, but they lost his luggage too. Fast forward 5 days later. And they didn't even tell me when the luggage showed up at the friggin' the hotel. I was down in the lobby just hanging out, playing guitar, and this lady's like, oh, you're so good, what is your name? And I'm like, Derek May. So this guy comes over and it's like, you're Derek May? And I'm like, yeah, you heard of me? He's like, your luggage here. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, your luggage is here. And I'm like, how long has it been here for? He's like, I don't know, a couple of days. I'm like, okay, so you didn't bother telling me that my luggage was here. So I was so grateful to have my luggage finally get the, where clean clothes.
Had your name on the.
It did.
But I mean, on the list of.
You think you
people
would have
staying in the hotel, like.
So that was day one, but we get on the bus. We wait for our luggage 2 hours, and then we separated, right?
Yeah.
So they went and stayed at the athlete's hotel, and I wasn't going to see him for a couple of days. So now I'm on my own, making a bunch of new friends, and get on the bus, and we head down to. We stayed in Dusseldorf. We stayed outside of Dusseldorf.
Yeah, you guys were 15 minutes from our hotel. So yeah, you were downtown Dusseldorf. We were more. We were right beside the river.
Yeah, right up by your guys are right close to the arena anyway.
The arena, yeah.
But as soon as we got off the bus, there was like a big welcoming committee, like people from like the Invictus volunteers and stuff. It was cool, man. They're all welcoming us. It was a big party, and it was like, man, all I wanted to do was get in my room and just have a shower.
I know.
And just chill. But
no. Well, that was one of the reasons why D came, was because our families were positioned 15 minutes away from us, and I wasn't comfortable with having my family stay 15 minutes away from me in a foreign country. And then, I wasn't even going to get to see him for 2 or 3 days. Could you imagine not being able to see your wife and kid for 2 or 3 days while you're in a foreign country? No, thanks. Guts.
Well, so we get in the room, and I don't know if you've ever been to Europe, but their space is limited over there. And I walk into the room, and it's literally, I don't know, probably 10 feet long by 8 feet wide, and you get a bed, and then you get a shower at the foot of your bed, and it's all glass stuff, and you got the toilet and stuff. It's all encased in glass. One bed for everybody. And when they had families staying together, like old men with their daughters who they accompanied somebody there, so they had families staying in this one room. So could have made for an awkward situation.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, just a little bit.
I was really glad to have my own room. The air conditioning was awesome.
I didn't have air conditioning.
It was deadly. It was like the comfiest bed ever.
Nope, didn't have that either.
The Ruby Lenny, if you're checking that out.
Our first day was a lot like Dee's, confusion at the airport. We split actually once we got our luggages. Then we took another 3-hour bus drive to, we flew into Frankfurt, which again, every other country flew into Düsseldorf, except for Canada, where we flew into Frankfurt and then had to take a 3-hour bus drive from Frankfurt to Düsseldorf, which was really awesome. So by the time we got to the hotel, the full swing of jet lag and had kicked in. So you were a little exhausted. It was just getting the luggage positioned back to our hotel, kind of figuring out what was on the calendar for the following day. We got to meet the fellow nations that we were sharing the hotel with. I believe we had 5 or 6 different countries: Australia, United States, Italy, Jordan, and there was one.
Colombia.
There was Colombia as well. Yeah. There was Colombia and Georgia. Georgia was there as well. Yeah, a lot of different countries in one hotel.
The second day, we woke up and they had all these free activities that you could partake in if you're a friends and family. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get a tour of Dusseldorf, and there was a lot of good information there. And we went and seen all these magnificent buildings and stuff like that. Took a tour of the Rhine River. They had all these art installations. They gave us information about the coal mines that were there and how they used to feed kids the old beer, which is 2.5%, and send them down to coal mines to get that precious coal and bring it back up so they can heat their houses. And I found that really interesting. But the thing that I took away from that is that Dusel means village and Dorf means idiot.
Idiot village. Okay.
Village idiot.
Village idiot.
So, I mean, there was a lot of cool things there, a lot of cool cars. There were some dogs along the way. Quite a few dogs in Germany. Definitely, anytime I see a dog, I'm snapping a picture. The cobblestone roads and stuff like that
Beautiful.
that were there. And just the statues, the architecture. It was just like being in an old world country that's older than Canada. Like, this thing is like, they get history. And they had some art in the museum that I wanted to get to, and that was the thing that I wanted to go see the most, but I didn't get there. There was just so much stuff to do. And the walking tour was great. I think there was a welcome barbecue later on in the day at the stadium, if I recall. And it was like, everybody comes, you hang out, and they had a barbecue and all the free beer that you can drink.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like,
It's ridiculous.
I was being sober, and so I'm like, do you guys have any 0% beers? Which is a thing over there. And they didn't have any, but they did have some Diet Cokes, so I was pretty grateful for that. My first time on a subway, the subway station. So day 2, we're going to the stadium for the first time at supper time. And everybody packs onto this train like cordwood, and we're just stacked on there like this, and I'm just, man, it was like 30 degrees, no AC, and we're on this train for 25 minutes, and I'm just like, get me off. We get to the station, and I'm just like, get off. Finally, we're at the Merkenspiel Arena, and it was like, this thing was like massive. I don't know how many people it could hold, but I think they use it as a soccer stadium. I think they can hold up to 100,000. or something like that.
It
was
like that.
bananas.
It was
But you walked in and it was just the first thing you see was these big Invictus posters everywhere and stuff, and this whole crowd walking towards security, and you know, had this esprit de corps that I haven't felt in a while, like this pride of the nations that everybody's we're gonna go and we're gonna battle and we're gonna have fun and we're gonna support everybody. And you get up there and you just start, you know, making friends, right? I'm there by myself because he's out doing his thing as the athlete. My thing, I went around, I made some friends, and it's pretty cool. And
my day two was vastly different than Big D's. We were waking up, breakfast, and on the move at roughly 6 o'clock in the morning to get over to the venues and kind of figure out where we were competing, where we were going to set up, practicing each of the sports, finalizing preparations for each of your competitions, your uniforms, and then just battling jet lag, and then, you know, trying to keep yourself motivated to, you know, hey, now it's game time, right? We've you know, it's about almost a year journey from when you apply to when you get picked to when you start training. Yeah, it's quite the journey. So then, you know, you're faced with a lot of those emotions of overwhelm and uncertainty and all of that other kind of stuff. It's a very, very unique experience. It really is. It is, because, you know, you join the military, you serve your country, and you know, you get injured, and then you never think that this injury is going to take you to a place where now you're competing against other injured people and trying to inspire other you know, members of the military, and then not only that, but you're on an international stage that, you know, is comparison to any type of, you know, soccer, football, UFC, anything of that nature. Like, there was 30,000 people in attendance in the opening ceremony.
Opening ceremony.
Oh man, it was horrible, to be honest with you. It was horrible.
So we go and we know it's going to be loud and it's going to be hot and everybody's there fired up and stuff. And I tell you, Canada was the third nation on, and these guys come walking in, man, we just blow up. I see my boy out there representing Canada, and there's 20,000 people just screaming.
30 degrees, and Canada picked for our uniform to walk out on the stage were plaid, flannel, lumberjack shirts.
That were popular.
They were super beautiful shirts. I absolutely love them, but man, it was warm. it was so hot.
As soon as this guy comes out and the camera hits him, it was just followed him for the rest of the games. You're going to see pictures. The camera actually absolutely loved this.
Yeah, it was all probably because I had my shirt off most of the time.
Most of the time. And when the camera wasn't on him, it was on this fella right here. I tell you right now.
My entourage.
We were showing up everywhere. We were making a representation of Operation Feed and putting St. John, New Brunswick on the map. So, interesting fact. And then we go to the opening ceremonies. Everybody comes on out. We're cheering everybody on. Prince Harry comes out. Does his thing. A couple other guys that come out, like Boeing CEOs and stuff, all these guys that need to have their time to speak. And then they had a couple performances, right? It was a Macklemore.
Is that his name, Macklemore?
Yeah, so he went, the pop and tag guy there, that fella.
Got $25 in my pocket, something like that?
I
don't even know. Not my jam.
Thrift shop.
Yeah,
that fella. Anyway, he's going to pop some tags. That guy comes on, bust out the 3 songs that I know.
Which was like, I felt like we were being attacked by artillery and bombs, and anyway, it triggered me.
Loud.
I had to run out of there.
So I see him take off, and I'm like, I'm in the middle of the stands, all 300 pounds of meat, and I'm like, I see him go, I'm like, my boy's going, I'm like trying to get out of the way, right? Everybody's jamming to Macklemore.
And I mean, I'm like, get out of my way.
So
I'm moving.
I'm like, Pat. So I run outside. I know where he's going. I come down over the stairs and I see him talking to this fellow in a kilt. And he's like, D, come here. And I'm going to let you take it from here, man.
So I come out of the stadium, and I mean, the subwoofer, they told us that, okay, we're going to have the opening ceremonies, and then we're going to have this fellow Macklemore, or whatever his name is, and but there's going to be a pause, and we'll be able to leave. So, you know, a lot of us are veterans, and, you know, loud noises kind of trigger us. You know, I'm a blast victim from Afghanistan, you know, and it doesn't feel good. So the base really just, it set me off. Anyway, I bolted out of there. And I'm walking out of the stadium, and I see this guy in a kilt and a Canadian uniform, and it's pretty recognizable uniform, a reservist one. They have a specific hat.
It's a Balmoral.
Thank you very much, Balmoral. And I'm like, hey man, what are you doing here? Oh well, I'm here as the band, the Canadian band to perform. Okay, right on. And I said, well, where are you from? Well, I live in Ontario, but I'm originally from New Brunswick. And I'm like, well, I'm from New Brunswick too. Whereabouts? St. John, more specifically. Me too. So I'm losing my mind that I'm in Germany, running into another fellow Canadian soldier who's a fellow St. Johner. And then D comes walking out, sees me. Go ahead, D.
And I'm like, what are you guys up to? He's like, D, this guy's from St. John. I'm like, what are the odds? Man, we got to go to Germany. We got more St. Johners there.
Yeah.
And it was pretty cool experience to, we're just standing outside and everybody else is in there, enjoying the Macklemore show. And we were outside 3 St. Johners, and we're like, well, maybe we should just take off now. And I waited a little bit longer, then everybody came out. It was just like World War Z. All the people, right, running towards the subway station. Man, I had to wait 3 subways to get home. And there was people everywhere. And you met a lot of cool people. I met some Aussies right the first day, like some of the athletes and stuff like that. And I just wanted to talk to everybody. So it gave me an opportunity to go out and, put my charm on and try it out on the world stage. And it was pretty cool.
I ran. And then when I turned around and noticed my coach was gone, I was just like, I stayed longer than I should have too. Yeah. I stayed because I thought I had to. I put myself into a bad place because of it. And then I had night terrors the rest of the fucking time there.
You're freaking Macklemore, man. Put off our performance. You cost us the gold.
Cost us the gold. That's right. Oh yeah, my silver medal fucking performance that they took from me. God damn it.
Oh, it was so great. There's a story in that one. Oh, and the first day of competition, and he's running. Did you run the 100?
It was the 100. Yeah.
Was it that? That was the first day, right?
So what happened was they put me as a female. So I show up to Germany and I'm like, these men's names don't look very male. You know what I mean? Jennifer, Christine, Sarah, Pat, like what's going on here? So I put my hand up and they're like, yeah, they put me in the women's category. So they shuffled things around and put me in a category. Like I said earlier, I'm a blast victim. I got blown up in Afghanistan, so not my extremities don't always work the way they're supposed to. So I got put in a category where it was lower leg issues. One gentleman had a prosthetic leg. Another gentleman's his wasn't working properly. So I'm okay. I'm not really sure. Am I racing against these guys or am I just put in this category? Anyway, I go to race. Okay, boom, take off, right on. D comes running over, and I'm like, how do I do? Because I'm assuming for me, the 100 was, something that I was really, I put a lot of time into. And he's like, you won. You won.
You're second place.
You're second place. And I'm like, no, man. I'm like, no, D, no. And you remember? You were like, no, they keep telling me.
That's it. They're like, come. They put us, they went as far as saying, come with us, the metal people. And we're in back, and we're like, wow, man, I can't believe this happened. We're hugging. We were just
after we bawled our eyes out for 5 minutes.
Yeah, it was like our moment in the sun. It was so great.
Yeah.
And then it was all taken away from us because they made a mistake.
When we stood there and watched the medals walk by, and then they just ignored us. I'm like, you brought us over here.
Just to rub it in our faces.
Oh, my God. That was an uncomfortable feeling.
But it was the greatest moment for us.
It was.
Because the reaction that we had for each other, man, that was, you couldn't replicate it if you tried, and it was authentic and genuine.
We thought we won,
yeah, man, it was beautiful. And it was like, we had that moment, and that was the best part for me.
It was a good moment.
It was cool, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you know what? But on paper, he's still the silver medalist.
True enough.
Yeah, so.
I just didn't get it.
You just didn't get it?
You were this close. Well, gold medal experience.
Yeah, it was fun, man. And, just watching you compete and cheering you on, me being up in the stands and, getting a lot of the footage and stuff like that, watching you run and having other nations, the guys, my friend Simon that I met from Denmark, taking high-def photos with this friggin' sniper lens that he got. He's like, And then he sends me all these pictures of you in action, and it was just, I couldn't be prouder to watch, you know, my brother compete on a world stage like that, and just in the atmosphere that was there.
It was the energy was incredible.
Man, you
Overstimulating though.
Whew.
A little overstimulating at times.
A little bit, sometimes.
And hot. Oh my God! So then the 1500 it was 38 degrees.
Yeah.
1500 is 4.5 laps.
Yeah, it was a hot time.
It was hot,
and you ran at the hottest part of the day.
Hottest part of the day.
And it was a brutal gal for you.
It was.
But you completed it, and
got to meet the prince right after that, which was quite the experience. Didn't even know it was happening. For those of you that had seen the online photos of me half naked with Prince Harry, I'm going to explain to you why I was half naked. So, like we were just saying, it was about roughly 38 degrees out, and I just come off the track and ran a 1500. I started taking off my clothes because it was so hot, and I was trying to cool myself down. And the prince, and this is what he does, he kind of just pops up to events and says those who competed have an opportunity to come meet him, so then it doesn't become overwhelming for him, and creating this massive clog, I guess, in the grounds. So I come off the track, and he was in the warm-up tent, and they're like, if you competed, you can come in and meet the prince. So I was like, all right, cool. I didn't want to put my wet t-shirt back on that was soaked, so I just went in shirtless and, didn't think anything really of it. So I had a good conversation with him. Very genuine human being, cares immensely about veterans and our recovery. And, for those of you who don't know, the Prince did 2 tours to Afghanistan with the British military. Very, very, very nice man. I shook his hand, didn't even take a photo, and I left the tent. And when I came out, my friend and table tennis partner, Sam, her son had drew a photo of the prince in his uniform with his mother, Diane, who's no longer here. And she was like, Pat, they won't let me in because I didn't compete. Can you just go give this to him? Because we don't know if we'll have what and if we'll have another opportunity to meet him. And I was like, yeah, no worries. So I took it and I went back in and kind of, excuse me, sir, poked him on the, and at this point I'd already met his security and I was razzing him a bit, so he knew when I walked back in who I was, the shirtless guy. So he kind of let me back in, and I handed him the photo and I said, I just want to give this to you. A woman on my team, her son drew this for you and as a gift. And man, he almost started crying. He was so appreciative, and he was like, where is she? I said, well, they won't let her in because she doesn't compete today. And he said, well, take my security, David at the time, I knew him by his first name. I was like, Dave, let's go. Went out, we got her, and we brought her back into the tent, and they shared a moment about the story and why he drew it, and it was incredible how much time and attention he gave her. And then we did the nice photo where I was losing my mind, and then that went kind of viral.
Yeah, you were on the newspaper, the front page of every newspaper in Europe.
In Europe, yeah.
Yeah, so no big deal.
No big deal.
Said only this guy, man. Only this guy.
Only, yeah.
We call it the Prince Harry.
The Prince Harry.
It was pretty cool, man. It was an amazing memory. I seen that guy floating around with his wife there, Meghan Markle. And they were everywhere, man. So all you had to do was look for the press. They're already lined up with the cameras. So I positioned myself in strategic locations to just get there and nonchalantly take a selfie with them, right? Or just post myself up in weird spots, like just holding a Canada flag. One of these days, I'm a bit of an eccentric guy, a weirdo, to say the least. I was just holding the Canada flag, just sitting there like this. And the amount of people that just came up and started talking to me, just want to know my story. I met so many people that day, and then here comes Harry and Meghan rolling on by, like, maybe. I'm like, so it was just like, it was just neat. It was just cool, just little things like that where people were willing to engage with you. They wanted to know your story. And I was just being myself, man. Just out there doing
Unlimited chocolate bars, too. Unlimited chocolate
Should
bars.
we tell them about the cheese pretzels?
Oh, those were so good.
No, they have these cheese pretzels in Germany.
Germany's known for the pretzels.
And they get cheese on them. And those things.
Baked cheese, you
I
eat them 3 days.
I lived on those things.
3 meals a day.
Sorry, Mike, but I had to do it. It was carbs and fat, and it was just nom noms. They had nom noms everywhere.
Everywhere. You could drink beer all day, eat pretzels all day, crush chocolate bars all day.
If you want,
And drink free monsters too. They had
monsters. They have different kinds of monsters there.
Drinks everywhere.
Some weird type of German type of monsters.
Cola one, wasn't there a cola
There
one?
was a cola.
I've never had that before.
There was a different one. They had different snacks there too. Like I'd get a kick out of going to the convenience store across from the Ruby Lenny there to get some snacks, and the guy would be like, I'd be like sheepishly going around trying to like pick up my snacks.
What are these interesting snacks?
Right? And then I'd go give him some money, and he, in his German accent voice, he's like, "What is this?" And I'm like, and he's just like, and I just like start laughing. I'm like, okay, man. And he's like, it was great people over there. Like Germany they're so friendly.
Very friendly. I stopped at a group of women by myself, and I'm like, "Excuse me, I'm lost. Could you?" And they, "Oh, you're English? Yeah. Well, where are you from? Canada? Oh my goodness!" And they were so helpful. Yeah, no, you go this way.
Get lost, and I got lost all the time.
Oh yeah.
I was just like, oh man, I went for walks and stuff, and it was so hot in the buildings. If you've been in the city and it's hot out, there's no wind.
No.
And it was just like
village.
So it was pretty brutal some days.
First was running. We did the 100, the 200.
100, 400, then you did 200, 1500, right?
Yeah, it was 100,
400.
400, 200, 1500, and then rowing, 1 minute speed row, 4 minute endurance row, 1 minute speed row. But then wheelchair basketball was in between that. I literally had to we got just destroyed in wheelchair basketball. And I literally had to run from wheelchair basketball to the 1 minute row. And then once I got there, I ended up waiting 20 minutes.
And you're exhausted.
And I was, I was so tired. It was the 4 minute endurance row. I actually blacked out. I don't actually remember the row. I remember Buddy jumping on me, one of my teammates, and I remember like anger that he was on me. Like I was so angry because I couldn't breathe because I pushed myself so hard, and then I kind of was. I don't know if I fell on the ground or I jumped off the rower and just was like trying to get my, you know what I mean? Like that uncomfortable feeling of anyway, he came and got on me, and I was like, "Get off of me!" Because I couldn't breathe. And then I was just like, I thought I was having a heart attack and everything. But yeah, I gave her all for that. I did pretty good, man. I think I came in I was in third place in my heat.
You were in third place, and
then I lost it in the last 7 seconds.
Like, no.
Yeah, he took me. Fourth place guy took me. I gave her all on that one, and then yeah, kind of that destroyed me for the 1 minute. I didn't have anything next to me. Remember the Ukrainian guy next to me?
Yeah. He
was like jacked. He was huge, and he looked like he was gonna rip the rower in half. Like it went. He was not like stone cold. We were standing like you all stand in line. Okay, you're number one rower, number two rower, number three rower. So you stand behind the stage, number one, number two, number three. I'm standing there. This Ukrainian fella behind me. You know, hey man, how are you doing? Yeah. I mean, obviously there's a language barrier, but like the Terminator. Wouldn't he just? And I'm like, all right, this guy's. He's in the zone. And then I remember when they, I have a technique when I row. You pull three. You don't just pull a hard pull. It's three small pulls to get it, a little more leverage. Man, he grabbed a hold of that when that went, and he yanked it. I thought he was going to break the chain in half. And I've never seen anyone row like he rowed. It was intense. It was very intense, man. I was like, I don't got anything left in me, man. I rode hard, but when I had him in the corner of my eye, I was like, no, man, no.
You train for all this stuff, and series of events like the jet lag, the not sleeping. The back events.
You only got so much.
And it's just like, you're cooked, and you're just like...
I was cooked, man.
You were happy that rowing was done, and you just kind of got the cruise.
It was. Well, my two... I think, honestly, looking back on it now, I took on too much. And I think that goes back to me getting injured in the Warrior Games. A little bit of redemption. I should have just, did 2 running events instead of all the running events. Yep. And then maybe one of the rowing events, not all the rowing events. But it was fun. Got out there. I definitely, I made some people work hard.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
Nobody.
nobody got anything for free. That's for sure.
That was it, and it was the spirit of Invictus is just getting out there and competing. And I've seen some of the most remarkable things that I've ever seen in my life. Like on the track, the guy from Afghanistan who was an interpreter, who's blind, like was setting records, man. Like he was out there, he was running with the guy, his guide, and he was just crushing it. The guy from Poland, that was in the wheelchair, an old school wheelchair. He didn't have a racing wheelchair, and he did the 1500 meter on the hottest day that was there, and he's just chugging along.
He didn't quit.
He didn't quit. It was like everybody else finished in the 4.5 minutes or something like that. Took this guy 26 minutes to finish.
Yeah.
And I was like, everybody's like cheering him on, and it was pretty cool. And there's so many other like things like that. The spirit of sport that Invictus brings out in people. You wouldn't have witnessed it anywhere else. It was just even more remarkable because some of these people have serious injuries.
Yeah, like it'd be nothing for you to see somebody that's missing both legs or both arms and their body's covered in burns and and they're in the best spirits you could ever picture somebody. They're just happy to be alive and be there and competing and representing their country. And for those of you who don't know, the Invictus Games, the whole idea behind it is, a lot of us when we come home, especially with injuries, we fall into these ruts, these trenches, and it's so hard to get out of it. And you lose the camaraderie of your brothers and sisters in uniform. And what Invictus does, it kind of brings you back together for a brief period with fellow veterans and that are also suffering with an injury. And then it also pushes you outside your comfort zone. I couldn't tell you how hard it was, not just for me, but other members of my team that would share their stories and saying, I'm so anxious to get on this plane, the uncertainty of it, but pushing and knowing that I can because I have these men and women to the left and to the right of me exactly the same way I did while I was in the service. And then when it's over, the idea is that it pushed you so far outside your comfort zone, you have no other choice other than to grow and start your journey of recovery. So it's kind of like a kickstart to really just like, hey, get going, get out of that hole and get moving. And I mean, obviously it doesn't work for everybody, but it does for a lot. So
It was definitely a cool experience, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I had no idea what to expect when I got there, and just kind of like took it all in and just sat there and was open to all the ideas and stuff like that. I tried to attend every event that I could, experience everything I could. It was overwhelming for me as well because I'm diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, and I actually had an episode when I was there. I was overwhelmed and I needed to find a quiet space, and they didn't have one available. So they had these service dogs there. Like they come over and they just like, hey man, you having a bad day? Pet my dog. And I'm like, it was Dozer, and he was a cool dude. He was this, he was a chocolate lab, and he was massive. He just comes over and just gets right in there. And the trainer Steffi, hello if you're watching. They become some of my friends, and I follow them on Instagram and stuff. And they had these dogs everywhere throughout the venue that you could just go and just be like, you need a pup, go see a puppy. They had a little area where you could go and like pet all these dogs. I'm like, that's where I'm gonna go hang out. So, and they had remember the village that they
the
had
athletes village.
Yeah, down there they had all these different things that you could partake in. They had like the nations.
Canada House, and then
House
each nation had its own area for
And the monsters place were like
free monsters, man. It was
everywhere.
Free monsters everywhere.
Free food everywhere.
Free booze.
It was just like, the booze was it was the irony of it because we're both sober.
Yeah.
And there was just free booze everywhere, and it was like, man.
If this was us 10 years ago, we would.
It would have been a different story.
It would have been a totally different story. No, it was good.
It was challenging on so many different levels.
It definitely was, yeah.
But I made some friends over there that will last a lifetime for sure. Like talking to people from Denmark and getting a sense for their culture and stuff like that. Like I didn't know you didn't tip in Europe. I didn't know that wasn't a thing.
It's not a
and they're
thing.
like, we don't do that here. But the guys at the Ruby Leonard know that you're Canadian.
And they want that money.
They had that extra 10%. You know who I'm talking about? Same guy that didn't tell me about my luggage. So, anyway, I got coined by the guy from Boeing. Duff, my buddy Duff, he's the CEO of Boeing Canada. And I'm watching you play wheelchair basketball, and this guy sits down next to me and he wants to chat. And I'm like, I'm going to tell him everything about Operation Feed and Pat Gordon, how great Pat Gordon is. And I'm just selling. He's like, well, Boeing put this whole thing on.
Yeah,
sponsored the
the
whole
sponsors is on the walls as Boeing.
Yeah, we've done enough. So we had a good chat, and actually we ended up getting his coin. He gave me a coin from Boeing, so that was pretty neat. And the cool thing about Duff was he actually flew CF-18s and dropped bombs in Afghanistan. So he was one of us. So it was pretty neat.
It's so cool, the different perspective. Like, I'm on the court playing basketball, and Dee's, in the crowd, and being able to observe a lot of the other athletes in other countries, and just the different perspective on what you're actually able to see and soak up the whole time. It's because we really never, we didn't even have a debrief afterwards or talk about it. We kind of just like, man, that was wild.
Cool, man.
Yeah, okay.
Let's just go and decompress from this whole thing.
Yeah.
What it's been? It's been like 4 months.
It's been 4 months, and we just, and again, we got back to the charity, and it was just like, we just got right back into the charity and kind of really never even, we told the story of, to the crew and stuff, but it really, it wasn't much from it, eh?
No, it was just kind of like, it was a lot. It definitely was a lot. It was 11 days. And, you start feeling about the first weekend, right? And, so the last couple of days, like you left a little earlier than I did.
Yeah, so one of my teammates, he wasn't having he was having a real rough go. Again, a lot of us use cannabis for our medication, and we couldn't have that. And this was one of his very, he was still in the military, and one of his, first experiences outside. And just, sometimes guys aren't ready for it. And it was his birthday, and one of the other guys was like, we should go get this athlete some cake. So we went and found some cake, and we came back to the hotel, and we were trying to find his room. And he was, boom, pops up behind us, and he's like, boys, I'm out of here. I just, I'm done. I can't be out here anymore. And at this point, I'd already competed, and all I had left was ping pong. And as soon as he said it to me, he was like, I'm out of here. I was like, I'll come with you. What's that?
Table tennis.
Sorry, can't say ping pong. Table tennis. So he's like, I'm leaving, boys. And I said, you know what, man, I'll come with you. To me, you see a buddy and you can tell he's hurting, and I felt like I was a little bit further in my journey, and I kind of recognized that, and I was like, man, I know exactly where he's at, and I wouldn't want to travel across the world by myself if I wasn't in a good spot. So I said, if our team will allow me, I would love to accompany you home, man. And thank you again, Team Canada, for respecting that and allowing us to go home with them, because I think it helped.
Yeah.
I would want that.
Absolutely. So, we traveled together. I was there to support him. He's like, D, I got to go home a few days early. I'm like, that's fine, man. I'll just hang out in Germany by myself and do my thing.
I did clear it with him. I was like, are you sure you're going to be okay?
I said, man, I'm fine.
Are you sure? Because I won't go.
And I took advantage of all that. I became quite the celebrity down there in my own right. Talking to everybody out there. They had guitars down in the lobby, so I like to sing and play. And, people would just gather around and listen to you, right? And I'd always, when people asked me to play, I'd leave them. I'd play one song and I'd leave them. Right? That's the way to always wanting more.
Yeah.
So it's cool, good way to meet people, and talk about where you should go, what kind of activities they were doing that day. So when you took off, I wanted to do the tour on the double-decker bus, right? So
did you?
I did. I went.
Did you go top?
I did.
Nice.
So they have these and they have things that are clearly marked out, and you didn't have to be able to read German to understand that you're not supposed to stand up in the double-decker bus because it's going to take your head off.
Yeah,
and those pretty graphic, detailed pictures. It was pretty funny, so I took a snap of that. And then we have all these other different features around Germany. Like they had the IM thing in the middle of the pond, so got a few pictures of that. They have all these beautiful fountains and stuff like that.
IM is the official slogan for the Invictus Games.
Yeah, so that they had that posted all over the place. Just learning about the different schools and stuff like that, and the history of how old it is. And
Well, do you think? And I mean, the whole city was bombed too
Yeah,
during
it's
World War
just
II,
nothing
and like
left.
so much of this beautiful architect is still there.
Yeah, so it's amazing, and seeing the Rhine Tower, and knowing that it sways like I don't remember how much. I think it's like a meter or something like that. So you can go up there and eat food and stuff. Different bridges that they had built there, and the process of German engineering is really fascinating to me, and how they built that bridge. It was I'm not going to run it for you. You're going to have to go to Germany and check it out for yourself. But the culture there too is just. If I didn't live in Canada, I'd probably live there.
In Germany, yeah. No, absolutely.
Here's one thing you don't do. You don't walk in the bike lane.
They will hit you.
They will. They'll give you that ring, and then they're coming right at you.
Yeah, and they won't stop.
They
either.
don't stop. They just send it.
Full send. Man, I almost got
it. Then they have these other things, these little scooters that you could rent, like that you hop on. Like you just tap your credit card, you go park it wherever you want.
No way.
They charge you by the kilometer. I didn't want to tempt those things. I'm good walking around, right? But there's some interesting places like the restaurants and stuff. Man, they give us these gift certificates to go eat. Like the first night, we had $20 worth.
They didn't even. No, I don't think anyone even knew how to use.
You didn't. So the way the gift certificates work, you have to go online, enter this code to the restaurant that you pick that's on this list. But that restaurant has to be on this list. You just don't show up to a restaurant with these gift certificates and say try to pay with them. Like
they did that to us too. The whole team was like, we all ended up having to pay for our own food because no one can figure out how to work these gift certificates.
And you want to ruin a waiter's day. You just hand him a couple of those, and he's just like,
you're getting your food spit on for sure.
But no, it was pretty cool, man. They had a little pizza joint around the corner, and it was like.
Man, I had a Mexican restaurant. There was an American steakhouse. There was, what else was there? There was a few different, and the food was just.
Everything
was authentic from those specific, like the Mexican restaurant was like, it was more authentic than I've ever, I had from I don't know, man. I don't want to say Mexico, but
Yeah, they had these like really good weight bowls too, like a bowl with protein. I went there every day. It was
that place too, yeah, that was deadly.
It was like $20 a bowl, €20 a bowl, deadly. Right across from the friggin' remember that laundromat that we had to go to? It was high tech.
The most sophisticated laundromat I've ever been to.
Just been opened up. The only one that was open on a Sunday. We had to do some.
What happened? We were going to open up P&D's laundromat.
So I think I went by the wayside because we're trying to change the world.
Save the world.
We're trying to do this. We're not in this to.
Once we retire from retirement,
yeah,
we can open a laundromat.
Once we want to go back in, so stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, we got Operation Feed on the go here.
Yeah.
And no, man, it was one of the most amazing, incredible, awesome experiences of my life that I never in a million years thought I would have the opportunity to go and do something like that. And man, just thank you for choosing.
Thank you for coming, man. Like, I remember, I was so stressed out about the whole situation, and then I was like, you know what, make an executive decision. They're gonna stay home, and then you get to come. And then when I seen all the families and the other athletes dealing with the stress of having your family sleeping in a different location, and then trying to coordinate, meeting up in a foreign land, and me and you were just like, woo! Let's do this.
We're just sending text.
Text back and forth. Hey, buddy, yeah, okay, you're here. And it was no stress. And I was so grateful for that. So thank you, brother.
That was awesome, man. Yeah,
and then also being there for me, man, and being able to go out and recce all the stuff out for us, finding where, the good shops were, the CBD shops, found those for us.
It was expensive.
Yeah, it was super expensive.
And I'd also, so we had credentials where you could get into certain areas. I got in everywhere. I didn't pay attention to nothing. I just walked right in, and people.
They just assumed you were an athlete.
They're just like, "What are you doing? How'd you get back here?" I'm like,
"Don't ask." You were right on the stage rowing with me. You're carrying my stuff around for me. Like, how is this guy even doing this? Like, why does Pat have someone special? I'm like,
that's it. I'm like, I'm his handler, and he's got one. I said, "You do a better job." So I took the liberty. I took a lot of liberties. I get into places where I wasn't supposed to be, but I got a lot of cool footage of you too in the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
A lot of behind the scenes stuff, listening to the pep talks and stuff with the coaches, and really seeing the team come together. And I got in there and I met all the athletes on Team Canada, and they just welcomed me, and the families there were incredible too. Like being around those guys, met some really cool people. Like Rob's dad, we were just buds the whole time.
Yeah, he was pretty deadly.
And then everybody that was at the Ruby Lenny, John Sebastian, the guy with the big beard, who Prince Harry absolutely loved his beard.
Didn't he touch his beard?
He touched his beard, and that was all over the friggin'
He did too.
newspapers too. So I was kind of my beard wasn't this luscious at the time, but I was kind of hoping that if he passed by this beard, he'd give it a little tickle.
What's
wrong with me?
That's every man's dream, to have a massive, well-established beard, and another man go, "That's a solid beard." But then a prince, you know what I mean, and just be like, "Yeah."
And just get the royal blessing.
It's like he's a Viking, and it's like, yeah, that's so deadly.
That's
And it was in the newspapers too.
It was in the newspaper.
Yeah,
It went viral.
It did,
cool.
yeah.
So, just meeting different people from different, like a lot of friends in the family were ex-military.
Yeah, a
So
lot of them.
we got to hang out and talk to ex-military people and stuff, and meet a lot of cool people with different journeys and stuff like that. And a lot of people that were motivated inspired to sign up for the next Invictus games like myself. So hopefully, I don't know why my voice cracked there. Hopefully, 2025, I'll be, you'll see this fella going down on the skeleton. So I don't know if you guys know what that is. It's like the bobsled. So mass times force equals velocity, folks. Stay tuned. 300 pounds of this guy going down here. We're going to break some land speed records, that's for sure.
So the 2025 Invictus Games are going to be held in Whistler, BC, in Canada. So we're hoping Big D gets picked up for that and gets to represent Canada in Canada.
Hope you're listening, Soldier On.
I missed the closing ceremonies.
Yeah, I didn't go to those either.
No. If they were anything like the opening ceremonies, not my thing.
So they had some stuff like that. They had different banquets and stuff. You had to dress up. And I just wanted to wear my operation figure.
We had the breakfast with the prince.
You guys had the breakfast with the prince?
I thought you were there with me.
No, we had breakfast at the athletes' breakfast with ATCO.
That's the one when they
they came in. That was my second breakfast of that day. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't make a meeting. I'm here.
20,000 steps a day.
Man, yeah. That was another thing too. I was like walking anywhere from 12 to 18 kilometers a day after taking the friggin' train.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of... There's not a lot of cars, a lot of people, there's a lot of taxis, a lot of bikes. Just a different way of living.
And you got to keep your head on a swivel, because those trolleys are they just go right in the middle of the street, and if you got your headphones on, you're not paying attention.
I felt like everybody was outside too. Like you go here, like everyone's inside.
Yeah.
Everybody was outside all the time. I don't know, maybe because it was so beautiful while we were there.
Yeah,
I don't know.
They had it was a different culture. Like people went out to cafes, and
like they would just sit in the grass and have cheese and drink wine, and I was like, I want to do that. I want that.
We're bringing that here. We're gonna bring that up.
Smashing. I don't want to smash beers at
No, we don't.
No, I'm good.
We'll eat some cheese though.
8:00 in the morning by the Rhine River eating cheese, but I definitely want just less stress.
So I go in to find a gym to go train because I like to work out, and I go there and it's like 1.5 kilometers away. So I walk in 30-degree heat after walking 18 kilometers that day, and I find this gym finally. And I get up there, and the guy's like, "It's 20 euros to get in for the day. That's $36, folks." And I'm like, "Shut up and take my money." Paid it, and that's how they get you. I'm like, "Isn't like the day for the month is only 20 euros?" They're like, "Yeah, but you can't sign up for it." So they got my money. It was well worth it. But the gym's there. Nobody puts their stuff away, and
nobody puts their stuff away.
No, they don't. They just leave everything everywhere.
Like, oh, sweet. It's already set up for me.
It was pretty crazy, and it was interesting. It was a different type of environment for sure.
It is.
I got it. Thanks for joining us, folks. It's been a pleasure talking to you about the Invictus Games 2023 with my boy Pat G. And, you know, if you want to help us out in Operation Feed, you can like and subscribe to this channel. You can go to Operation Feed on the Facebook. Have you heard of this one? You can get us on the Instagram. And I'm not supposed to announce it right now, but is coming pretty soon. And stay tuned for that. And I don't know if you heard about this, but we have a 50-50 going on right now.
For our local people, yeah, New Brunswickers, we have a province-wide 50-50 happening that we will be running every month to help make us sustainable and continue to push more food out the door and hopefully bring more vets and first responders into the organization and continue doing what we do best.
So we got that, and it's about $15,000 for the month of January right now. You can also check out our Operation Feed gear at 643 Ross Avenue, Simply for Life. That's our in-store purchases right now. We're hoping to get that up online pretty soon.
It's in the works. We were going to have an online store sooner than later. Also, we have a coffee that our partners at East Coast Roaster do a wonderful medium to dark roast, wonderful blend. And we also have a beer too that our wonderful friends at Long Bay produce for us. It's a great Pilsner. I personally have never tasted it, but I hear it's scrumptious.
I have. When it first came out, it was delicious. It's actually award-winning, so this is why they're reproducing it. So OFSJ beer at the time, I think they're rebranding to Operation Feed.
Well, we hope.
We hope so. And if you wanted to go on ofsj.ca, click on the monthly subscription. We got 3 options there for you: $10, $25, and $50 a month. Help us combat the war on hunger.
Thank you very much, guys. We appreciate it, and have a wonderful day.
Big energy here today in Germany. Patrick and his partner are taking on mixed doubles, table tennis, taking on the nation. They kick off in about 6 minutes. Gonna go over there right now. Hopefully we can lay down some dominance here. As you can see behind me, that's the table tennis field. We just came from wheelchair basketball. What a great environment. Hope you guys are having a great day back in Canada. I'm having an amazing time here. Woo.
Very happy, very busy Polska team surrounding Kowalski. A wonderful effort.
Speed row, well done. Today, 4-minute endurance, 2 basketball games, 1-minute speed row. Big G is running on an empty. Gotta go fill myself up. Get ready for some big time.
Here we go. We got our boy Pat Gordon getting ready for some basketball today. We got a tough opponent in the Australians. Hopefully do a little better today, but the guys are having a bunch of fun. What an amazing environment. I don't know, man. Highly recommend it. Invictus 2025 is going to be in Canada. I'm going to apply. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to do the skeleton and curling. You're going to see me out there one of these days.
Phone, and then you get in and I'll take a picture. Are you going to video?
I got my. So after a bit of resistance, I managed to break in to the athletes area. They're not messing around, so I'm gonna go see my buddy.
Let's go! Let's go, Italia!
fantastic sportsmanship here at the Invictus Games on show.